So, welcome to the second part of the series. I say second part because there was a actual particular focus that came out with Spirit from the last group of sessions that we did, which lasted through several months. And they specifically announced that the subject for this next round is going to be based on emotional body and the idea behind that. So before we even go into any of that, I want to set some framework for that, which is the aspect of spirit saying that they can go into more elevated topics of working with energy and, you know, specifically with the energy of the higher self and merging in that standpoint. But they've made it clear to me, Nathiel did, that the focus really needs to be on this first. And the way that he put it was that it was one of the main things that we stumble over as a people is the idea of working with emotions and the emotional body. It's what we continually trip over, have problems with, don't understand, mechanics, and so they wanted to shed some light on that for understanding to work out a lot of the basics that need to be worked out before we can actually get into the more advanced stuff. Which in my mind was like, wait, what we weren't doing wasn't advanced. So it's going to be interesting to see where they intend on taking this. That being said, the focus of it being from emotional to me doesn't mean that the thought process isn't important, because I'm sure they're going to include that. It's also of interest that, and I'm going to try to say this without Mansour rolling his eyes and going into a 45-minute astrology correction, because he is an astrologer. But for me, the Linda Lovegood method of astrology, the basic stuff, I'm a Cancer as my sun sign, which is my main astrological focus, and I'm Scorpio rising with my moon sign, which are, sun being conscious, moon being unconscious. So I'm a double water sign. Emotions would be very important to me. It would be a very big basis of my reality.
Technically, Scorpio rising, Virgo moon, so you get very particular.
And that is true.
You do get I'm a Virgo sun, and you're very, very nitpicky emotionally.
Absolutely. But it's still based all around emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So my point with that is that, is it a coincidence that they're focusing on that? Is this have to do with the channel that they're coming through because of my astrological temperament of norm? What is the actual level of importance of the emotional body compared to the other ones? Is it that we really have an issue with that, or is it really that I have an issue with that? And they need to get that information to me. There's a fine line there, and I don't know which one's which. So, but the information will come out. But I wanted to go ahead and say that because, of course, there's going to be other opinions, and as there should be, and I don't want this to come across of anyone taking the information as the emotional body is what's most important and should be the focus. Everything as a general whole, not one part should be made more important than the other. It's the point of it being a complete being, not a one rules over the other type mentality. So I wanted to, get that out of the way before we began. There's been a lot of changes. There's been actually, about 2 month break since we did channel sessions.
Almost 3. No. 3 months.
Yeah, about a 3 month break for doing channel sessions dedicatedly. And Spirit had said in the last session, which was news to me, that there would be a lot of changes that I would be going through and wouldn't have the energy to do the channel sessions. And so it, be best if we took the break for me. In that time period, if you've been following along with, Diary of a Channel, basically had a little bit of a spiritual zip popping, the abundance issue, and coming to really a good conclusion with that. My dog passed from cancer. There's been a lot of events that have happened, getting ready for next year for business, as far as all the energy and dedication that's involved with that. I'm in the middle of a Reiki class. So that started, so it's been pretty busy.
Lord Vivek.
No TV?
Lord Vivek.
Oh, apologies.
You have to mention him.
Well, yes, and that was about me. We've also had a chameleon come into the family, and pass from the family within 2 weeks, which was traumatic. Bug farming raising issues for the next lizard. A new parrot that came into the household, which we're attempting to do the session with him in the room. He is a baby, so if he starts squawking, then we're gonna pause the tape at that point and move him to another room and come back on.
I'll take care of it so you don't have to get out of trance if if
Yeah.
that's the case. Do you want me to cover him up as well, or just take him in the back?
Just take him in the back for now.
Okay.
So he's slept really long yesterday, and I'll keep him up a little bit longer today.
Okay.
And let him enjoy. So, but anyway, so we'll see how that works. And there's a little troll. So, let's pause it now.
Okay.
Just take care of
I
it.
think perfect. All right.
Okay. So, sorry about that, guys. The parrot is now away, so that should no longer be a disturbance. So at this point, it's been really interesting process since we last met, as far as going through the information and actually working with it spiritually. And putting things together. I'm almost done working on the book that was channeled in my 20s. I've got one more chapter to go as far as editing process. And then I'll actually be able to go ahead and go through and actually read it and do a final edit. At least for my part. And it's like, I wish I could say that things in life have gotten better from working with the information, because it's certainly, in a sense of the way that we gauge worth, hasn't. Things of looking at what's important in life, people, places, and things have literally turned to where everything tastes like dust. Not finding things that make me happy, things that used to make me happy no longer having meaning. And it's like I've been round robin with this process, not my first rodeo, with spiritual changes. So I know that it's a normal part of the process. It's the end of the old, the morning, and in comes the new. Gotta love animals.
I love them.
So, but anyway, so it's been a difficult time period for each of us in the household. And it's from the effect of going through changes from actually working with the material. And that's a good thing, So it's certainly not a pretty point, I would say, in our lives. But it'll be interesting to see when that gets past that and to the point where things build and things come together, which is the whole point of the old leaving. So as far as what happens there. So I'm excited about this. The other aspect it's going to be is that the flow of the meeting may shift and change as we do this. One of the things this round that's going to really be my focus. Last time was just really getting used to his energy and him as a being. If you remember back to the first round of sessions, he was a new speaker in the group, so it really was me getting used to his energy and getting used to him coming through. I like the focus of this one to really be what my original intent was, which is that I am going to go into a full trance channel. So with that, there may be a flow change from slight to dramatic, depending on how that process takes form. You know, if it's successful, I won't know because I won't, in that sense, physically be here. With the way channeling works, it'll be, you know, at that point, him and Mansoor, and him learning to use the body without me being in it. So I don't know how that will look as far as for the video. So if you see a big shift, you see, look, I'm having difficulty speaking, whatever the case, please be patient and, you know that it's part of the process. When it was Woman of the Forest and I was able to successfully do that, you know, it wasn't a big shakeup. She was very fluid in what she said and very similar with her mannerisms as when she was coming through me half trance channel. So we'll see how this works with him. So, all right, let's get started. Good evening, brothers and sisters.
Good evening. How are you?
We are good. It is good to be in your presence again through the body.
Oh, it is great to have you here and speaking with you.
We are looking forward to this session and this series for it to come out in fruition.
Same here for a good time now. But I'm really glad we took more than just a month off. I think that was the break was very much needed for the both of us.
It was, and we would also like to continue changing the format to something that works better for the both of you. The time period that is coming for the both of you will be more intense. There will be more changes. There will be more adjustments. The energy between the two of you will not be as in sync as it was. And so things will seem to be shifting and moving between the two of you and require effort to stabilize that and make a new norm. And we say, make a new norm with a purpose. Things are changing. The changes that we spoke of are beginning. And part of that is him getting out of the house. As Woman of the Forest so aptly and wisely told him, if you're looking for a relationship, Prince Charming will not knock on your door. You must leave it so that the world knows you are available. Him being out of the house is going to start creating several changes. Ones that will test your relationship. And so the channeling sessions in this regard is not to be done in a dedicated session of we must. There is no must. There is willing. And so when the energy peaks and you both know and feel that it is time, do so. We would like to hear from you. But do not feel obligated to us that this must be done on a regular basis, whether you have the energy for it or not. It is time to put that type of discipline aside. We would always be available. Are you ready to hear from us, is the question. And you'll understand this better when you see what's on the agenda at the time. Does that make sense?
It does, and it also you bring that up because him being out of the house and traveling more, there's definitely going to be a shift in responsibility and a lot of stuff, but it's also getting that sense of obligation out of both of us. We can play it by ear depending on his energy from all the traveling he's going to be doing,
The both of your energy.
but both of our energy.
This will be hard on you, is what we're saying.
Really?
Yes.
Him not being in the house?
Correct.
May I ask in what way, or is that just a spoiler alert?
Jealousies will arise.
Ah, between the both of us.
Correct.
Okay.
It is one thing to have your special something something where you always know you left it and pick it back up. It's another thing when not only do you know where it is, but who it's with. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So it will push each of your buttons for unresolved issues, not just from this lifetime. And funny enough, we are here to speak on the emotional body, which the one thing we say over and over again is that emotions do not tell time. The past, the present, and the future blend within the emotional body. All of it is now.
This is really appropriate. Is there anything we can, any tips or tricks, level one, for prepping for these challenges?
Hang on to your bootstraps and smile.
All right, and I thought we went through a lot already. I'm excited, actually. I'm excited about it.
This is not doom and gloom.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new aspect of your relationship. He will travel, he will be traveling. We spoke of this previously,
Mm-hmm.
and so it begins. Now, since we spoke on time, we did want to touch on something as usual and bring up a factor. Often we talk about the aspect of time. He just told us to speak up. Often we speak on the factor of time, and we call it an illusion. And we say that it is important for you to realize that it is an illusion. And this is true. When a mind comes together to understand itself in a sense of self-enlightenment, it understands the illusionary nature of time. However, that does not mean it does not have a purpose. It has a very valid purpose. It is a tool, and one that we wanted to point out humorously with the addition of the new baby in the household. The joyous occasion of him being in the bathroom and the baby peeking its head around the corner because it came to daddy from its voice and drifted away from the safety of its nest or cage. The first time it drifts off from what it knows is safe and walks into another room of the house to find him. And the instantaneous joy and horror of that moment. One that every parent understands oh so well. Always the juxtaposition. Always the duality. It is of no coincidence that when you look at parrot videos, isn't it a strange coincidence that all of them seem to learn the phrase and mimic the words, stop that, What are
And
you doing?
what are you doing?
And they repeat them back to their owners because it's what they hear the most. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you getting into? What are you doing over there? And so we had the moment of horror and joy of the baby finding daddy and breaking its safety and following its voice for the first time and seeing its loving eyes as it peeks around the corner and makes contact. And the horror that now that side of the house is now within limits. And coming into the room and finding him gnawing on the wood desk, gnawing on the wood shelf, gnawing on perhaps the wood moldings. And the phrase, "What are you doing?" will become prominent.
Oh my goodness.
And we want to talk about the celebration because it involves time. He is watching a being's awareness grow and take form. It is a baby. Its understanding is small and non-complex. And he watched it, barely able to balance on a perch, wondering if he had bought a retarded bird. Because he saw the videos of them hopping around the cage with the greatest of ease, and his tripped over his own feet getting to the water bowl and wondering what it was, to being able to successfully climb all over its cage and hop from place to place, watching its awareness expand, its relationship with him grow in fondness, in different ways, all of them attributing to time. Time for what is the point that we want to bring to your attention, to all of you, because it reveals a point of life, something to celebrate, the purpose of being here. It is a sense of appreciation of watching a spirit come through a body, to grow, to become aware, to be able to do more, be more, engage more, have an understanding, have an experience here. All of the little things you celebrate, all of the little things that you truly appreciate with no training. No one taught you to appreciate those things. But when the baby takes its first steps, all of you are in instant awe of the event. When someone that is paralyzed from a stroke relearns to take its first steps for the first time, there's not a dry eye in the house. Who taught you that? Did someone take you aside and say this is appropriate to shed tears? Because the person doing the experience will appreciate it? Did someone explain it to you? And isn't it interesting? The horror of reaction to people that are born that are called serial killers, that don't have these natural reactions of appreciation to life, a coldness, a calculatedness within them, and how everyone shies away from them when they realize that is present, because it is unnatural. It goes against the construct that you call life. It is these little things that you appreciate so much. And the point that we bring your attention to is that what you don't pay attention to the most is yourself. When you grow, when you realize, I've been farther from my house than I've ever been, and I'm excited and completely safe. It's okay. I'm okay. I can do this. And that feeling of awe, of inspiration. And in contrast, what you force yourself to have appreciation for is your job, is your degree, is your pedigree, is your upbringing, is your title or entitlement. None of the things that bring you that type of joy. There are moments, but if we took this year alone as a whole, which have you appreciated more? Your life, or that you survived it? That you survived it. Which is forefront? Which is more meaningful? The importance of this question is to stop all of you for a moment before this year ends. For those who will listen, because our son just said they're not going to hear this year. So for those who will listen, to stop you for a moment and to look at the chaos happening within your world at this point in time and understand the engine that drives it. More news comes on the media and it's more drama. It's more of what you need to be excited about, what someone hasn't done, what someone did do, why is it wrong, why does it put you in danger, onward and onward. Always something to be dramatic. And now we tell you the news. Always waiting for the shoe to drop. And it's not just when you turn on the TV, it's when you go to work. Will you have your job? Will the wrong person be hired? Will you still have your health benefits? Will they take away your pay? Drama, drama, drama. The struggle to maintain what you had this year to the same level for next year. And every year, you look at what you have and try to find a new way to do the same with less. And there is that imaginary swiping, which is the sound of a credit card to make do. Are you satisfied? Are you satisfied with your life? And understand, we don't say this question from the standpoint of us holier than thou coming to thee to judge thee for thy life. Live it as you see fit. Enjoy it. Do as you will. This is about you. After we are done with this body, we go back to it being about us. And we are quite fine. Are you fine, brother, sister? Are you okay? Because you don't seem okay. Are you okay? And so we bring to your attention the things that are important, the things that make your heart sing. Because within that understanding is understanding of purpose of being. Your jobs and your careers is a purpose of doing, not the same thing. You have, per se, your eggs in the wrong baskets. And the purpose of this moment of the parable of the baby parrot is to bring to your attention that the chaos that is ensuing in your world seems to be on a rise, seems to be coming to a boil. Things that you don't want to see revealed, purposely and intentionally being revealed, things that you never thought in your lifetime you would see being done in normal, everyday life out in the open. And to pull a thought from our son's head, how is it possible someone so stupid can possibly represent us? And so many are voting for them. Is it getting better or getting worse? The absurdity that you call life. There is a pot getting ready to boil, and the energy is the realization, are you okay? Sister and brother, are you okay? Are you sure? Because this collective energy is starting to boil your pots. And it's not the point of learning to be okay with it. It's the point of clarity of what you are okay with. Because if we may be the masters of the obvious to point out what is apparently clear, what you call life is no longer satisfying you. Hence the chaos. And to what degree? To what degree does the pot need to boil before you say, maybe I should get my hand out of the water? And so we wait. And we watch. Because we ask an honest question and we point out a simple truth. We don't need an agenda with you. We are okay. We are quite fine where we are. We love, we grow, we understand our purpose. And in that sense, we are the blessing. We're not blessed, we are the blessing that God intended. And for one final time, we look at you and ask, are you okay? Sister? Brother? Are you okay? Because it is your life. It is your will. Take a moment and consider time, the tool, and what it was designed for. The beautiful illusion that it was created to be. So speaks the baby parrot. So, let us continue.
I do want to point out before you continue, it's interesting. I think you guys can hear it, but as you were talking about celebration, our neighbors are playing like celebratory music. They're celebrating in the backyard. It's great.
Correct.
It's great.
And it's one of the things about that type of culture that brings a sense of joy to our son. Because he loves the fact that they celebrate. He grew up in that type of environment where you work hard, but you also party hard. Something in Brooklyn for the term called block parties.
Yeah.
for no reason, just because. Didn't have to be an occasion. The occasion was the occasion. The point was to celebrate.
This is a great start. This is awesome for season 2.
So we begin with the emotional body and discussing what that is, why is it important, giving the understanding of the structure of it. Because as we had shared with our son, it is this that most get trapped within. But before we go in, this is going to go on for a while. Let us take a break so he can break the video from here of the first part of the parable of the parrot being part 1. And then we can wrap up with part 2 and begin the lesson.
Perfect.
So if you'd be so kind as to pause the tape and release the body.